So you got the job, new administrator, new clinical director. Maybe you're the director of nursing who just got handed the entire surgery center. Congratulations. And I mean that from the bottom of my heart. But let me tell you the thing that nobody says out loud on your first day. The skills that got you promoted are not the skills that are going to keep you here. You were the best nurse, the sharpest clinician, the one who could be trusted. That's why they picked you. But starting Monday, your job is not to do the work. It's to build the systems that do the work when you're not in the room, right? And the window that decides whether you succeed or struggle isn't within the first year. It's within the first 90 days. I'm going to walk you through exactly how to spend each of those days the way I'd coach you if I were sitting across the table. So let's get to it. Let me tell you why these 90 days matter more than any 90 days that come after. First, there's the clinician trap. You were promoted because you were excellent at clinical work, but nobody handed you a manual on leadership, budgets, surgeon politics, or governing boards. You're expected to just know it, right? Most new administrators don't struggle because they're smart enough. They struggle because they keep leaning on the clinical skills that are no longer the job. Second, reputation sets fast. Your staff is watching everything in those first 2 weeks. How you round, what you ask, whether you listen or you lecture. Those first impressions harden into your authority, and they are very hard to reset later. And third, this is the one that keeps risk managers like me up at night. You inherit the risk, the expired competencies, the sterilization shortcuts, the policies that haven't been updated since 2019, let's say, the day you signed on, those became yours. Every gap you don't find in 90 days, you'll be explaining at the next survey. Here's the line to hold on to. You don't get second first 90 days. So let's spend them on purpose. Priority number one, before any calendar or checklist, is the mindset shift. And it's the one most people skip. You have to stop doing the work. I know how counterintuitive that feels. You got here by being the person who could always be counted on to jump in. But if you're still the best set of hands in the building, then you have failed as a leader, because your job now is to build the system that does the work whether or not you're standing. Here's a test I want you to use. Your calendar is your strategy. Whatever you spend week one doing is what you're telling your staff you value. If you spend it hiding in your office, answering emails, they learn you're an administrator. If you spend it rounding pre-op, the OR, sterile processing, the front desk, they learn you're a leader who wants to understand their world. And one more, credibility before change. You do not walk in and start rearranging the furniture. You earn the right to change things by first understanding why they are the way they are. Some of what looks broken is actually a workaround for a problem you can't see yet. So respect that before you touch it. Days 1 through 30, and this is the assessment phase. And the whole job this month is to listen before you lead, right? So you're gonna round every single day, not a grand tour on day one and then back to your office. Every single day. Pre-op, the OR, sterile processing, PACU, the front desk. Your physical presence on that floor builds more trust in a week than any all-staff meeting will. The staff needs to see that you're not afraid of the work. When you round, ask, don't announce. 3 questions: what works well, what's broken, what would you fix if you were sitting in my chair? Then here's the part people forget, to write it down. When you actually act on something like a scrub tech told you a week, 2 weeks ago, you've just earned a loyal ally for years. And also, read the record, right? Pull the last 3 survey reports, the event and complaint logs, your copy of the meeting minutes, and every policy that's passed in its review date. The building is going to tell you a story if you're willing to sit down and read it, because I've never seen a center where the paperwork didn't already point straight at the biggest risk. Now we're moving on from day 31 to 60. Now that you've listened and you're holding a long, messy list, right? This month is about diagnosing, separating what's loud from what's actually dangerous. So sort the noise from risk. Here's the trap. The loudest problem is rarely the most dangerous one. The broken break room fridge generates 10 complaints. The sterilization documentation gap generates none until a surveyor finds it. Patient safety, compliance, and survey exposure always comes first. Everything else waits its turn. So build your coalition. You cannot fix an ASC by yourself. It's impossible. And the ones who try, they burn out by month 4. So do this. Sit down with your medical director, your director of nursing, your key surgeons, particularly your key surgeons, and understand what is it that they care about. Where is it that they're going to back you up, and where are they going to fight you? You're not just diagnosing the building now, you are diagnosing the politics. And then name your top 3. Out of everything you found, pick 3 risks that could genuinely harm a patient or close your doors. Just 3. I know. It feels like you're ignoring the other 20, but you're not. I promise you. What you're doing is sequencing them. A leader who chases 20 priorities accomplishes 0. Focus is the whole game. Next, day 61 to 90. You've listened, you've diagnosed, and now finally you've earned the right to act. But act carefully because your first move sets the tone for everything after. Deliver one visible win. Pick something small, real, and fast. Ideally, something that staff themselves flagged. So you fix the broken workflow, or kill that redundant form, or solve the scheduling headache everybody complains about. It's not about the size of the fix. It's the proof that when your people speak, things actually change. And that's how you convert goodwill into real credibility. Then you're going to close the gap that scares you. Take that number 1 risk from your top 3 and close it with a system, a hard stop, a forcing function, a process, not another memo that says staff was educated, right? If you watched episode 2, you know exactly why re-education isn't fixed. And finally, set the cadence. Stand up your daily huddle, your QAPI rhythm, your standing one-on-one with your leads. Because here's the truth about leadership. Rhythm outlasts heroics. The hero who fixes everything personally burns out. However, the leader who builds a rhythm creates a center that runs well long after they've left the room. Let me make this real with 2 administrators. A composite, no real names or facilities, but I promise you these 2 people exist in every region. Administrator A, right, came in swinging week 1. She reorganized the surgery schedule, rewrote 3 policies, and called out a surgeon by name in a staff meeting. Oh boy. Yeah, it felt decisive for her. It felt like leadership. But watch what happened. By month 2, the staff had gone silent. They learned that speaking up got them steamrolled. Okay, the surgeons, they stopped cooperating. And the actual dangerous problem, a sterilization documentation gap that nobody trusted her enough to warn her about, sat there quietly until a surveyor found it. She was busy and was blind. Administrator B did the boring thing. She spent 30 days rounding and reading. And here's the payoff. She found that exact same sterilization gap documentation sitting right there in the QAPI meeting minutes before any surveyor could find out about it. She brought her DON, a medical director in, closed it with a hard stop, and then fixed a small workflow her staff had been begging her about for a year. She started slower. She finished way miles ahead. The one who moved slower moved further. Write that down. In your first 90 days, patience isn't the weakness, it's the strategy. Okay, this is a slide to screenshot. Your first 90 days on one page. Days 1 to 30, assess. Round every day, ask instead of announce, and read every record in the building. Day 31 to 60, diagnose. Sort the noise from the real risk. Build your coalition and name your top 3. Okay? Day 61 to 90, act. Deliver one visible win, close your number 1 risk with a system, and set the cadence that keeps the place running. Now, here's the thing I really want you to hear. The power isn't in any single box. It's the sequence. Listen, then diagnose, then act. Credibility compounds in that order. If you flip it and act first, then you're Administrator A swinging blind. If you follow it, you build a foundation that holds for years. And by the way, I turned this exact roadmap into a free 1-page playbook with a full 30, 60, 90 checklist. Links in the description. Grab it before you start on Monday. Before I give you the recap, let me save you some pain. Here are 4 mistakes I watch new administrators make over and over. 1, don't change everything at once. I know the urge to prove you belong, but sweeping change in week 1 breaks trust and steps landmines you didn't know were buried. Slow is smooth, smooth is fast. 2, don't ignore the schedule. Surgeon block time is the most political thing in your building. Money and ego, they both live there. Learn exactly how it really works and who it protects before you ever touch it. 3, don't skip the numbers. You are a clinician stepping into a business seat. Know your case volume, your margin, your supply costs, your infection rate. Before you're sitting in a board meeting, getting asked and having no answer. Nothing erodes your credibility faster than not knowing your own numbers. And 4, don't lead from your office. This is a big one. The floor is where you learn the truth. Your inbox is where you learn the polished version people want you to believe. So get up, walk the building every day. Do those 3 things, and 90 days from now, you won't be just surviving the job, you'll be leading it. If this helped, subscribe, because next week I'm breaking down what surveyors really want to see and how to be ready long before they ever walk through your door. And tell me in the comments, what's the first thing you'd fix in your first 90 days? I read all of them. Lead with confidence, protect your patients, and elevate care. I'm Genesi Gonzalez, and I'll see you in the next one.